Welcome back. I know you've all been waiting patiently for part 2, and such patience should be rewarded. This is part 2 of the What If Naruto and Menma Were Brothers storyline. There was a video before this, so if you're new to the story, I'll let you go see it. I'll give you a moment to click off before I begin. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, we publish a new video every day. If you subscribe in the next 5 minutes, you will always smell great without any need for perfume or cologne. If you ring that bell, it might even be a designer scent. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. If you're still here, then I assume it means you've seen part 1 or are now just returning from watching it. That's awesome. But really quick, I want to give the other viewers a quick recap of events so they know where the story is picking up. So in this world, Indra and Ashura were reborn as two brothers in the modern generation, the brother of light and the brother of darkness. Naruto and Menma. Both were born to Minato and Kushina. When the Nine Tails was ripped from Kushina, Minato went to seal it away into his children, splitting it into a yin half and a yang half. The yang he put into Naruto and the yin he put into Menma. These two, after the deaths of their parents, were raised alone, with only the careful eye of Kakashi and Hiruzen watching over them. When Naruto and Menma are attacked in an alleyway by angry villagers, they're saved by Kakashi. And when the Uchiha uprising begins, Kakashi once more saves the boys from their wrath, only to realize that Menma has already killed one with the power of the Nine Tails. Escaping with them, he returns them to their home and stays by their side until he's sure that nobody will come for them. He later sends Hiruzen to answer any questions they may have. Hiruzen spends all day playing with and explaining to the children who they truly are and who their parents were. The day thereafter, Naruto and Menma go to the Hokage monument and have lunch while gazing up at the statue of the man who they now know to be their father. On their way home, they witness a fox mask that reminds them of Kakashi's and show interest, but the shopkeep kicks them out, bribing them to never return by giving them the mask. Naruto is upset by this, and Menma does what he can to comfort him, only growing more and more angry at the village. That night, as he dreams, he speaks to Kurama, who tells them that their beliefs on the village are starting to align. And that's where we find ourselves. So now that you're all caught up, why don't we skip straight to the story? Sound good? Alright, let's get going. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and two boys walked home from the academy. Naruto was skipping about, basically dancing down the road, all while a slightly embarrassed Menma watched with a smile on his face, carrying his brother's things. Naruto honestly didn't think he would pass the test. Maybe he wouldn't have, but Menma helped him learn it. The clone transformation jutsu. They were now wearing the headband that all official ninja carried. This was their first step to their dreams. It was hard to believe that 6 years had passed. It was so quick. It seemed like only last week they were discussing with Lord Third who they really were and what their parents were like, and now they possessed the same headbands that other shinobi did. Naruto stopped and looked back at the Hokage monument. He held up his headband. "Dad, I did it! I'm officially a shinobi now! I'm gonna make you proud!" Menma rubbed the ringing from his ears after Naruto's outburst and let out a small chuckle. "How about something to eat? We got any celebration ramen stored up?" Naruto thought for a moment. "I don't know. Last I checked, our stock was getting a little scarce. Maybe we should go to the store." Menma shook his head. "Nah, today's a special day. I don't want to spend it buying groceries. Let's stop by Ichiraku and order something special." They would step into the eatery and sit down. Menma would wave out to the owner of the restaurant. "2 of today's special, Mr. Teuchi, and add an extra Narutomaki to my brother's bowl if you can." The old man turned back and smiled, giving them a thumbs up. Menma turned to Naruto. "See, I told you it'd be easy. You just gotta know the trick." Naruto smiled. "I did just like you said. I stopped focusing on how to make it and instead focused on believing I was who I was attempting to be." Menma listened to his brother list off the steps that he had taught him. Menma didn't need any lesson. He was the one who taught Naruto, but he let his brother continue, knowing that he was excited. "Your clone was even more impressive than the others. It lacked not a single detail. Your impersonation of Iruka-sensei even garnered his praise, which he rarely gives anyone." Teuchi would then bring them a bowl of ramen each. Menma went to pull out his wallet, but Teuchi raised his hand. "It's on the house." Menma looked up. "You sure?" "Yeah. You two deserve a treat. You're both fully fledged shinobi now." Menma thanked him for his generosity, and the two began to eat. Together they would return to their home and spend the rest of the day at rest, doing whatever they wished. Tomorrow was a big day as well, as they'd meet their Jonin for the first time and schedule their missions, and so the two of them would eventually fall asleep. Naruto declared that he'd be unable to sleep due to how excited he was, but immediately after saying that, he conked out and started sawing logs. Menma would sit up in his own bed and just look out over the village. He felt empty. He was finally a genin now, but it didn't feel like that meant anything. He'd lost his drive. His love for the village had grown cold, so what was he fighting for? He thought these things as he drifted off to sleep. The next day, he awakened and prepared to head to the academy where he'd be introduced to his own jonin. Sad as it was likely that Naruto and Menma would be separated. Naruto knew this, but was prepared. "We can't always rely on each other," Menma said. Naruto shook his head. "No. You can rely upon me forever. I'll always be by your side, no matter what." They walked down the road and saw the other kids gathering at the school. It was early, the sun just only barely rising, and the angle in which it was shining gave the village an orange glow, all while the sky itself was slowly lightening blue with just a hint of violet mixed in. They came to the doors and waited for their turn to enter. Making their way to the homeroom, they waited. They saw students filing in. They heard the clamoring of voices speaking indistinctly as they sat at their desks. It felt like it was taking forever. Naruto felt some butterflies in his stomach. He was a little nervous, but mostly excited. This was the start of his life. He waited as Irika eventually walked in. Irika told everyone to quiet down and take their seats. Slowly, the sound of voices were replaced with the screeching of chairs being dragged across the ground as the students sat down. The voices then lowered into a whisper before disappearing entirely. Irika looked down at his paper. "Today is a momentous occasion for each of you. It marks the beginning of the rest of your lives. Lives full of honor. Lives of fulfillment, lives where your dreams can become reality. But before these things can happen, you must each become members of a 3-man squad and receive a jonin. Now I will read off the teams and the names of the members who will be on them. When I do, I'll give you a room number. You will go to that room and await your jonin." Irika began to name teams and the names of students before naming off a room. Slowly, the classroom began to thin out as 18 of the students were assigned to their teams. Irika then spoke again. "Team 7. It consists of Naruto Uzumaki, Menma Uzumaki, and Sakura Haruno." Naruto sat forward and gripped Menma's arm, shaking it as if he were trying to get his brother's attention. "We're on the same team! We're on the same team!" Menma smiled as he looked over at Sakura, her hair a redder pink, her eyes glowing like diamonds. "I know," he said, his face growing redder. Irika continued. "You will await your jonin in room 12B. Menma and Naruto began to collect their things and stand. Sakura was already on her way, so they filed in behind her. The three made it to the room as Naruto waited excitedly. Menma sat down by Sakura. "So, you come here often?" She looked over and rolled her eyes. "Kill me now," she said in response to his failed attempt at Riz. They waited there for a moment. "Who do you think our jonin will be?" Naruto asked. Menma shrugged. "It could be anyone. I have no clue whosoever they'll choose." At about that time, a man walked in. Naruto and Menma felt their hearts stop for a moment as their legs were filled with the overwhelming desire to run to their teacher. It was Kakashi. They stepped over to him. "No way," Menma said in disbelief. "You're our jonin? I thought the Anbu didn't do teams like this." Kakashi smiles. "They don't. I left it." Naruto and Menma were surprised. "You left the Anbu?" Kakashi shrugged. "I was getting tired. And when I heard that you two were about to graduate, I left the Anbu to become a jonin under Hiruzen's request. Friends gotta stick together, right?" Sakura just sat there. "Oh gosh, I'm the third wheel." Kakashi walked over. "No, technically you're the fourth wheel. And a fourth wheel is just as important as the other three. Do you see any 3-wheeled wagons anywhere?" He led them out. "Let's go somewhere a little less stuffy. I know Naruto and Menma pretty well, but I don't know you, Sakura, so tell me something about yourself." "Where do I begin?" she asked. "Anywhere you like. Tell me anything about yourself that you deem important." She thought for a moment. "Well, I am aspiring to become a field medic. I might not be as strong as the others, but I'll be damned if I won't pull my own weight. To that end, I study all day just to get anywhere close to worthy of such a position. That has the pleasant side effect of boosting my intelligence level and giving me knowledge of many things that most believe would be out of my age range." Kakashi nodded. "Sounds like you're very smart. Welcome to the team. This is Naruto and this is Menma. They live alone and eat ramen all day. That is literally all you need to know to understand them." Sakura offered a slight bow. Menma tried to sit her back up. "No need to bow, we're equals now, you and I. It's an honor to have you on our team, Sakura-chan." Sakura sighed. Inner Sakura was currently screaming, demanding to know why she had to be put on a team with him of all people. Kakashi stood there for a moment, embarrassed with how bad Menma was at attracting girls. He decided to spare him the pain of rejection and move on. He led them to a forest. "Normally, I don't tell anyone that this is a test about teamwork, but honestly, Naruto and Menma will have no issue working together as a team. So the goal of this is a little different. The goal is for Naruto and Menma to properly include you into their team, Sakura. Become a true 3-man team." He stepped back. "The goal is to get these bells," he said, showing the group. "If you 3 get them, you pass. If you fail though, well, we'll be doing this a lot until you do get them. Don't be afraid to go full power. If you're afraid of hurting or even killing me, don't be. I'll be just fine. Now, show me what you got." The three of them began to attack Kakashi. Just as predicted, Naruto and Menma stayed close together and worked well in tandem, but Sakura couldn't find a place to get in. They were mostly ignoring her, and this left her as the lone wolf of their party. Kakashi would pull back a little. Good work, guys, but you gotta include Sakura. She has her own strengths that she can bring to the table and make you more effective. The others nodded. Menma looked back at Sakura. Come on, let's attack him together. But immediately after saying that, Menma and Naruto rushed off to attack again, leaving Sakura to fend for herself. Kakashi sighed as he pushed them all away. Wrong again. I know you three don't know each other well, but you're a single unit now. You've got to move like one. This means you gotta work together. Each take each other's abilities into consideration and begin to act. This is an easy thing for Naruto and Menma. They've worked together for so long that they can basically read each other's minds. But that doesn't give any of you an excuse. You gotta get used to each other. Learn to cover for each other. Take some time and devise a plan, and then come at me again. Don't worry. I'll wait. Naruto and Menma walked over to Sakura. So, what's next? Sakura thought about it. Kakashi-sensei doesn't seem to think we can work as a team. What if we just keep up that appearance? Naruto cocked his head. I don't follow. Sakura sighed. It means that we'll be working together even though it looks like we're not. Basically, you two keep doing your thing and get his back turned to me. Do that and I'll make a clone to keep up appearances. While you two and the clone keep him occupied, I'll sneak up and take the bells. Menma nodded. A very smart and intelligent plan. Very wise. What an honor it is to execute it with you. Sakura looked at him. I don't know what you think this is, but it needs to stop. I'm not interested, Menma, and if you keep trying, it'll hurt the team. Menma's head lowered. Okay. The two of them then rushed off to attack Kakashi. Kakashi was disappointed in this, but he kept fighting. They got behind him and began attempting to attack. He would dodge back as Sakura created a clone. The clone entered the fray, but did not attempt to actually strike Kakashi as she knew that it was not tangible. Kakashi would jump back from them. Alright team, I'm starting to get a little bit disappointed. You guys don't seem to grasp the concept of what it means to be a team. This is a very important lesson as it could mean the difference between life or death on the battlefield. He looked down to see that Sakura had her grip on the bells and was slowly tugging them out. Kakashi looked forward towards the clone as it poofed out of existence. Naruto and Menma smiling from ear to ear. You all came up with this plan together, didn't you? Naruto nodded. We knew that you were doubtful of our ability to work together as a team, so we decided to keep up that appearance while Sakura snuck in from behind. Kakashi's eyes depicted a smile hidden below his mask. Well done. That was wonderful teamwork. From here on, you three should all train together, spar together, talk, and hang together. It'll make it easier to mesh in a fight. That's the essence of teamwork. The four of them would then go out for a ramen to celebrate their new team. Of course, Kakashi paid. He would lead them toward a crossroads where the streets that possessed their houses coincided. Kakashi would wave to his students. Have a good night. Our first mission begins tomorrow. The three would wave goodbye to their mentor as they returned home from their exercise. As soon as the door was open, Naruto's shoes came off and he went face first into his pillow. Aren't you going to shower first, Naruto? Menma asked. I'm too beat. Good night. He turned out the light. Menma would shower first before bed. As he lay there, he could only wonder what tomorrow's mission would look like. It couldn't be too hard. They were fresh, but nonetheless he desired to know what it was and he looked forward to it. We're doing what? Menma asked calmly, his face betraying his confusion. We're going to be doing community service today. It's a good way for you to build up your dedication. Remember, shinobi are hired out by others than the Hokage to do missions. There's never a mission too small, whether it be walking dogs, picking up litter, or helping a little old lady cross the street. It is still a mission. A mission someone paid for. A mission someone has to complete. So, together, the three of them began to do their missions. But something began to bother Menma and Naruto. As they would help others, those they helped didn't seem very grateful. They paid for the job but never left tips, and whenever they did leave a tip, it was only ever to Kakashi or Sakura. This reminded Menma of something he'd been attempting to forget. Nobody cared about them. At all. Even though they were being helpful, they were still scorned and treated with contempt, but nobody said anything. Kakashi would eventually sit down with Menma at lunch. You seem a little upset. Menma looked up. I just don't get how people can be so mean. What, because you didn't get a tip? Kakashi asked. Menma shook his head. It's not about the money. The money's nice, but I wouldn't mind if they didn't give us a tip. It's why they don't tip that bothers me. They refuse to show us any form of support at all. Why? What did we do? We're not the demon fox, we're imprisoning it for them, to keep them safe. Kakashi shrugged. It's just the way it is, I suppose. The people aren't nice, nor do they easily forgive such a thing that's happened to them. The issue is, they have nowhere to put that anger and frustration, so they focus it on you. Menma sighed. I tried to help a little old lady across the street. As soon as I offered my hand, she pulled away and walked off. Kakashi didn't really know what to say. I'm sure you'll win them over. Maybe all it takes is for you to save them. Some grand heroic act to make you a superstar. Just keep your chin up. If you keep this up, you'll be able to prove yourself and they'll come around eventually. After lunch, they continued work, but they seemed to get even more depressed after not being recognized for their hard work. So Kakashi spoke with Hiruzen. They're not well received among the villagers, he said. They never were, and I doubt they ever will be. A lot of people were hurt in that Ninetales attack, Hiruzen responded. Kakashi stood there in silence for a moment. Do you think it would be possible for us to take a mission outside of the village? Something small, it doesn't have to be big. Just something to allow Naruto and Menma a chance to receive some unbiased appreciation. Hiruzen stood and walked to the file cabinet. He opened it up and began to look through the files for any genin mission outside of the village. We only have one mission to be done by a genin outside the village currently. It's an escort mission. A bridge master named Tazuna has come here for business from his home in the Land of Waves. He requested an armed guard transport to help him back home. He fears bandits and highwaymen may be laying in wait for travelers and hopes that we can provide him with safe passage. Kakashi took the file and looked through it. Interesting. This might just be a perfect fit. Would you mind assigning us to it? Hiruzen pulled out a form. Sure. Let me get on that right now. He took a pen and began to fill in some blanks before signing it and stamping it. He handed the paper to Kakashi. There. That should cover it. Kakashi took the form and looked it over. Thanks. I'll let the others know. Kakashi would then return to his team where he would explain what they were going to do the day after. The team grew excited and their joy drowned out their frustrations quite easily. Kakashi told his team to go home and rest as they would wake up early the next day. When daytime rolled around, they met with Tazuna by the gate. Together they began to leave. They walked with their charge towards the village of his birth. They made their way south and began to near the island. It's here that they'd be ambushed by the demon brothers and Menma would activate his initial Jinchuriki cloak. With great strength, he would step between his brother, his charge, and his team, eviscerating the brothers before they had the chance to change course. Kakashi was impressed by the strength and speed, but he was even more impressed, if not actually unnerved, by the brutality of Menma. Of course, their victory was short-lived, as they were soon attacked by Zabuza, who was on a totally different level compared to the Demon Brothers. It was Kakashi who had decided to be the one to fight him. Kakashi would unveil his Sharingan, which would allow him to copy Zabuza's moves. Due to Kakashi's intelligence and knowledge of jutsu, he could predict which hand signs came next, and he would be capable of nearly fooling Zabuza into believing that Kakashi could see the future. Zabuza managed to shake himself free of this though, and would proceed to use mist to cover himself and his tracks. He knew that so long as Kakashi couldn't see, he would not be a threat, and this strategy proved to be sound. Kakashi would be caught in a water prison, which threatened to drown him. It was left to Naruto, Menma, and Sakura to deal with this. Sakura would continue to guard Tazuna while Naruto and Menma prepared to fight. Menma would activate his Jinchuriki cloak. He knew that all they needed to do was knock Zabuza off balance. They just needed to force him to lose contact with the water prison and they could free Kakashi. And so, Menma decided that the best thing that they could do would be to rush him. He and Naruto threw everything they had at him, kunai, shuriken, anything he had on his body to throw. Zabuza was so busy defending himself from these that when Menma came at him, he couldn't properly defend, but he was far from defenseless. He jumped over the water prison and landed on the other side. Naruto would race forward as Menma came from behind, a pincer maneuver. Zabuza saw them coming and once more jumped to get away. What he didn't realize was that Naruto had asked Sakura to help them, and the moment he landed, a kunai was inches from his face. He used everything he had to pull away, avoiding the kunai, but in the process he accidentally freed Kakashi. Kakashi would come out swinging and knock Zabuza back. Zabuza looked at the team. Huh, so you have a demon on your side too. It was then that Haku would immobilize his mentor and reclaim his body. Team 7 had claimed victory, but it was bittersweet as Kakashi was too drained to continue. They realized just how much danger they were now in, and so they made their way to Tazuna's home as fast as they possibly could. They took time to let Kakashi rest, and as they did, Naruto and Menma would explore the house a bit, finding Inari. Inari was less than pleased with their presence, and Naruto and Menma could feel him staring daggers into the backs of their heads, but they persisted and attempted to be nice to him. Tazuna would beg pardon for his grandson's actions and explain to them why he was the way he was. The story of how he lost his father rocked Naruto and Menma to their cores, but it was something that they could relate to, so they would begin spending more time with him. Slowly, Inari began to open up to them and admitted that he liked having other kids his age in the house with him. The three would play. One day, Inari came right out and asked, "Why are you ninjas? Why do you want to be heroes?" Naruto and Menma thought about it deeply for a moment before explaining their dreams. Inari nodded. "You just want to be accepted because you're different. But why do you need to be a ninja to do that? Can't you do anything else? You could die. Naruto acknowledged this. Yeah, we could die. Inari seemed confused. So why do you try to do it? If heroes die and bad people win anyway, then why do you want to be heroes? Why do you want to save the world? Naruto smiled. Because I don't want to save the world. I just want to save one person at a time. I understand that it's a tall order to save an entire planet's worth of people. I know I can't do that alone. So if I can't save everyone, I'll save the ones I can. One person can make a difference, but when a bunch of people work together, they can accomplish anything. Inari just looked at him as if he were crazy. You could still die though. Naruto chuckled a little. Yeah, but I will have a lot of people to cry over me when I do. I would rather die early surrounded by love than die late in life and live alone. I'll leave behind a legacy of people who know that love is why we're here, to love and be loved. I learned early on when I had nothing that this was the meaning of life. The grand plan for everyone is to love and be loved. I was blessed to have a brother and he was my lifeboat in a sea of uncertainty. Anyone can be a hero, Inari. Anyone at all. All they have to do is choose love. Unconditional love that doesn't know limits. The love to be willing to die for someone else. That sort of love doesn't come around every day, and those who possess it are special people, and they can teach it to others. Inari felt tears come to his eyes as he saw within Naruto's the same eyes as Kaiza. What was this fool's mission? How could anyone choose to die for someone else? How could anyone sacrifice everything to be someone else's hero? Was this what it meant to be a hero? Was this what it meant to be alive? And in that moment, it was as if the stars aligned. Love. That was the answer. So many people had said those words over Inari's life, but he only now realized it. He was born into this world. Inari looked at Naruto. You're my hero. Naruto smiled and patted the boy's head. Love is the currency of the soul, but unlike money, even if you don't have any of your own, you can sure spend it on others, and that's the way it should be. The day after, as they began to leave for the bridge to guard it, Inari would hug Naruto goodbye. This was something that astounded both Tazuna and Tsunami. Inari had been emotionally shut down ever since the death of Kaiza, not even showing affection to his own mother, yet now he was hugging someone random. Something in this boy's life had changed. Something good. They began to leave where they watched the bridge being built. It was then that the dreaded moment arose. A final confrontation with Zabuza and his protege, Haku. Kakashi held out his hand. I will face Zabuza again. Naruto, Menma, you two face Haku. Sakura, you keep Tazuna and the other bridge workers safe. Each one nodded in understanding. Haku appeared there before them, his mask as intimidating as ever. Stand aside. I do not wish to hurt you, he said to them. Menma was ready, but Naruto began to wonder about this. Why? Why are you wanting to do this? Haku was silent for a moment. It's my job. It's a job. My master commands. Haku turned and pointed back at Zabuza. That man. He saved my life. I would die for him. Naruto felt his heart skip. He's your hero. Haku nodded. The streets of Kiri were not kind to me. After the Third Shinobi World War, Kekai Genkai like mine and my mother's ice release were feared. People with them were hunted and killed for being different. I was left alone on the streets to starve in the cold. The snow. Haku trailed off. The snow is beautiful, but no child should ever be left alone in it to die. It hurts. Then suddenly it doesn't, and you grow tired. That's called hypothermia. I thought it ironic that I would die amongst the very substance that I was hunted for being capable of creating. Naruto listened. Zabuza. Some call him a demon, but for me, he was my angel. He took me in and warmed me up and provided for me. Why did he do it? He didn't even know I was special. All I did was smile at him and he showed interest and took me in. That man is my hero. I would do anything to make him happy, and sadly right now that includes killing you. I'm sorry. Haku would suddenly burst in and attack, clashing his Senbon with Menma's kunai. Menma was knocked back, skidding along the ground. Haku stopped and began to weave hand signs rather quickly. Ice release! Demonic mirroring ice crystals, he shouted as he suddenly formed a dome of ice mirrors. From all directions, Senbon came in. Menma was okay due to his ability to utilize Tailed Beast Chakra, but Naruto was not faring as well. He'd be struck by many of the Senbon, crying as his leg went out from under him as the back of his knee was struck by one of the needles. Menma looked back and felt his rage boil to the surface. He would suddenly release a blast of chakra, melting all the mirrors at once, sending Haku flying back. Menma would turn around. Are you okay? Naruto nodded. I'm fine, just my leg. Menma then began pulling the Senbon from his brother's body carefully and gently. He tossed them to the side. Stay here, I'll face him. Menma stood and went to face Haku. With his newfound strength and speed, it was beyond even Haku's level of attack, so the obvious advantage was on Menma's side. Menma would see an opportunity and raise his hand to strike Haku down, but Naruto would catch it. "Stop!" he'd cry out. "Haku's not evil." Menma would then pull himself free. "Good and evil aren't things you can think about in a fight to the death, Naruto. He's a threat. Where his moral compass points is irrelevant." Naruto gripped the arm with both hands. "Stop." Menma looked down. Haku was defenseless now. He calmed. "Fine, I won't kill him." But no sooner than he had said that was Haku up and moving. He saw Kakashi moving in for the final blow to kill Zabuza. Haku rushed forward. Naruto's hand reached out to grab Haku's, but his palm slipped and he missed. Before Kakashi could think, he had Haku sitting on the end of his arm. Haku coughed up blood with a slight smile, knowing that he protected his mentor. Naruto rushed over to grab Haku. Zabuza raised his blade to strike Kakashi down. Menma rushed out and tackled Zabuza. Naruto looked up at him. "He died for you. You were going to cut him in half just to kill Kakashi-sensei." Zabuza scoffed. "He's dead. He's not going to mind it." Kakashi was not exactly surprised by this, but he was angered by how frivolously he was treating the sacrifice of a friend. The battle continued until Kakashi managed to wound Zabuza. Naruto held Haku's body and closed his eyes. Naruto just looked down in sorrow as Menma looked to him. "You gotta be tough, Naruto. This is the shinobi world. People die." At about that time, Gato and his men show up, threatening to finish what Zabuza and Haku failed to. But here comes the cavalry. Inari shows up with the villagers and they manage to drive off Gato's gang. Inari would rush over when he saw Naruto kneeling there. He would stop and see Haku. "Is he..." Naruto nodded, tears in his eyes. Inari looked up. "Are you okay?" Naruto nodded again. He fought to smile, but his attempts only betrayed how much sorrow there was in his heart. Inari looked down. "Was this guy a hero?" Naruto looked to Haku. Despite the side he was on, he had a pure heart, and he only did what he had to for Zabuza, who was the one who was hurting people. Naruto looked up to Inari. Yes, he was a hero. From there, Kakashi and the team prepared to leave, their mission successful. Inari would hug Naruto and tell him that he would be a hero in his village and remind people what the meaning of life is. Naruto smiles and hugs the boy back. Both seem to tear up a little as they know that this is goodbye, but this was exactly as Naruto had hoped it would be. Even though he was not the one still in this village, even though he was going away, he had left behind a legacy. Inari here would show the people what a true heroic love really is, and to make heroes out of everyone just as Kaiza once had. And so, with heavy hearts, they say farewell, though they promised to write, and Naruto promised to come see him whenever he could. They began to head home. Menma kept his eyes forward, but as Team 7 came to the village, they would soon realize that they were not the only ones. A lot of people were gathering at the village, and some of them weren't very good people. Unbeknownst to them, the Chunin exams were about to begin, and Team 7 would be soon caught up in it, and their lives would never be the same. I plan to call it quits right there. I have plenty more planned for this story, but I do not wish to rush through it. I bet you'll all enjoy it when we do make it to the next part. Tell me where you think it's going and where you'd like it to go, and I'll see if it fits in the cards. Until next time, peace out.
Did you enjoy our video? Well, then be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.